Let's go right to the phone lines. First up today, Ray. He's in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Hank. Question for you. In Revelation, it states that the enemy is sealed up for the 1,000 years, and then he's released for a short time. And I was wondering if you could explain to me what that is referring to.
Yeah, you have to look at the overall context of Revelation chapter 20. And remember that Christ appeared that he might destroy the works of the devil. We see that in the New Testament passage, 1 John chapter 3. And of course, the Lord began binding the strong man during his earthly ministry, and he completed that mission, and he is now plundering Satan's house and carrying off his property. You see that in passages like Matthew chapter 12. Or if you look at the passage that is so powerful in the Gospel of Luke, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So Satan has fallen with great force from his position of power. And Jesus himself is the one who broke Satan's power. And he broke Satan's power through his life, through his death, through his resurrection, through his ascension, and particularly in the context of the book of Revelation, through his coming in judgment on the beast and the false prophet, who are now in the fiery lake of burning sulfur. But in Revelation chapter 20, you realize that Satan himself is not in that fiery lake of burning sulfur, but one day he will be, and that's what ultimately John is pointing to. With a powerful passion in this passage, he is communicating that though Satan has been bound, though his work has been curtailed by the spreading of the gospel, that mission is not ultimately complete until Jesus appears a second time. And then he forever dispenses with sin and Satan. And then there's the ushering in of the eschaton, which has been initiated but hasn't been yet consummated. So there's a theological point in the millennium, and that is to demonstrate the triumph of the martyrs, and also to underscore then in the end that their triumph is found in the kingdom of Jesus Christ, and it's not one that evil can ever again reverse, because God has the last word over good and evil. And even though the devil is given a last chance to deceive the nations, it's like a literary bookend. It's saying he rises up against God at the end, but the power of God quells the power of the devil, and the problem of Satan and sin is forever resolved. So in the story, we now have not only the beast and the false prophet, but we have Satan, who will forever be resigned to the lake of burning sulfur. That's not a present reality, by the way, because the lake of burning sulfur is not even a present reality today. It is true that people are in torment in Hades, but in the end, death and Hades will be thrown into the lake of fire. We read that in the conclusion of Revelation chapter 20, and then John says that is the second death. So often today we talk about the devil, and we sort of picture him as a caretaker in hell. This passage explodes the myth and says, no, ultimately, though in his last-ditch efforts, so to speak, against the gospel, he is defeated, he will then be thrown into the lake of fire, and that is yet a future reality, not a present reality.
Okay, so the very end of it, where it mentions that he will gather the nations together and then they will be destroyed, it doesn't give you much detail. That's still yet to come.
Well, yes, because Satan is not yet in the burning lake of sulfur, or in the everlasting flames of fire, or in blackest darkness forever, using the various metaphors of Scripture. That is yet a future issue. And this is something I stress on the Bible Answer Man broadcast all the time. What do we look forward to? Well, we look forward to the time that the problem of Satan is fully and finally destroyed. Jesus Christ, in the inauguration of the kingdom, broke the power of Satan. But that is not fully consummated until the kingdom is fully consummated. Then the power of sin and Satan will be fully and finally destroyed, and then we will have the eschaton in reality. Then there'll be a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwells righteousness.
Okay, so the very final battle, that could be representing Armageddon, the last battle?
Well, not in the story of Revelation. It is the story that you have at the end of the book of Revelation, which is given to you throughout all the passages of Scripture, which is even as you read what's happening to the church at Rome or the church at Corinth or the 7 churches in the province of Asia, as in Revelation, while you're dealing with things that are happening in the present milieu. This is written to first century believers in the epicenter of a Caesar cult. The picture is always ultimately transferred from this world to the new world, the new heaven, the new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven, prepared as a bride, beautifully adorned for her husband. So the picture is always at the end, whether it's one of the Gospels, whether it's one of the epistles, or whether it's the Apocalypse. The story always gets back to eternal verities. There is going to be a time where the new Jerusalem comes down out of heaven, where the power of Satan and sin is forever destroyed. That in no way minimizes the power of the story of Revelation, which has to do ultimately what's going to happen in that milieu when the temple in Jerusalem is destroyed.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
You got it.